call this meeting to order. Let me turn my phone on. And as far as the agenda, if we can go ahead and make an agenda change and move item number 7 to make that 2B, I guess, in between the agenda approval and approval of the minutes. That would be great.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to accept that change?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any other changes to the agenda? No?
I move we accept the agenda as, with the change.
Okay. That's probably not the way all those are supposed to be done, Christy, but I think we've got 7
Oh,
where
I got-
it's supposed to be.
I
All
got
right.
Dolly as a first and Becky as a second to accept the amended agenda.
To
Perfect.
accept it as amended.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay, so we are on to the award presentation.
So as you guys know, we did a little trickery and told you that I was getting an award last Friday to coerce you to Winston-Salem for all that could go, and indeed you were getting the award, so we apologize for the brief story that David and I came up with. I do want to, David's going to present the award, but yesterday, it's not a part of your agenda packet because I got it yesterday, but the guy who was inducted as this year's president sent this message and asked that it be read at your next board meeting. On behalf of the NCRPA Board of Directors, I just wanted to take a moment to pass along our congratulations to your Parks and Recreation Advisory Board for their recent recognition as the Distinguished P&R Board for our NCRPA Awards. We appreciate you taking the time to complete the nomination process for them. Having worked with other boards in my career, I understand the time and effort that these individuals devote to making our communities better. Please pass along my congratulations to them at your next board meeting. We wish you the absolute best, and if you need anything from NCRPA or the board, please let us know.
All I can say is you and David would be very good covert operators.
Yeah, at Go to the Beach, he just goes on and on and on about how he gets you to go to these meetings. Remember? You got secured on your back.
Private conversation.
No, it wasn't, Dave. Nothing you tell me is
No, I
private.
do, it's private, yeah. If I could add also that in this month's, or the fall issue of North Carolina Recreate magazine, remember when we opened the Bridgeview Park up? So we got a half a page spread on the Bridgeview Park in the North Carolina Recreate magazine, which is, across North Carolina. And then there's also a tag byline on the following page that talks about Christie's Certified Parks and Rec Executive Award recipient or accreditation. So we're getting some statewide publicity in addition to the award of the Distinguished Recreation Board from the North Carolina Parks and Recreation Association. So if I could get y'all to come out here and get a picture, it would be great. And we promise that we won't use that picture
With our mouths wide open.
with your mouths wide open.
That was pretty
She
good.
should not be taking a picture.
Yeah, the press can take the picture. She's got to come
Exactly.
up here.
Oh, okay.
I need her.
Yeah.
She should
You
not
were
be
here
taking
in
a
July. Move forward, please.
When she said
Come up to
Tide
Yeah,
died,
I'll be on the end.
Oh, I'll just go put you on. Okay.
when she said
Just so you're in
Tide
the
died, that's when my mouth flew open because I knew then.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Just a few more. Just stay still. Got it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, wait, we need one up the board, because that was one thing I got in trouble for. I had to send in pictures, and she said, all these snapshots of these people working so hard are great, but you don't have just a picture of them. I said, we worked too hard to have them just standing in a picture.
And this is a repeat keep award for this board. This is
Wow.
the second
2015.
time-
Wow.
Second time in 3 years that it's been.
And you know that's all because of the leadership she's in.
Yes.
Proud
Yeah,
little while.
And you have a husband-wife team,
That's right.
because Lewis was on the
That's
board.
right.
That's-
Oh,
I forgot about that, yeah.
Told him I had to keep up.
All right. Next on the agenda, is the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I'll move to approve the minutes as written.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bob. All in favor? All right, the minutes have been approved unanimously. And now we're going to talk about, at the end of the last meeting, Pat had mentioned something about considering a party for the 50th anniversary party the weekend of February 15th. She had said down at the West End, they take their golf carts and decorate them and do things like that. Want to open that up for discussion? See how you guys feel about that? Probably be a Saturday. I think it would be fun. It would be fun to kind of get the kids involved.
Hold on a golf cart in February.
It could be. It definitely could be.
But you can wrap up. And it would be fun too to decorate the dog, put the dogs or pets on the golf cart, whoever you want on the golf cart.
So what would be the route? Not across the bridge. is it?
No. I think it. I
You
think.
have to go by town hall, and
Yeah,
you'd have to
yeah.
go from the stage, I would think.
And you couldn't, I know that the sign is, the 45 mile per hour sign is already posted over there by Greensboro. And I know that you're not supposed to use golf carts in a 45 mile per hour zone. So, you couldn't go any further than that. And I doubt that you want to go any further than that anyway. Because that would
Oh,
be
yeah.
a couple
No, I would
miles.
keep it,
So I
because
think
you
we
will
just-
have to consider batteries.
Yeah, and people are going to be walking too, and you're right, it's going to be cold.
If we did it, the logical place would be from the pavilion down High Point, down to High Point. Go down High Point by the waterway and turn around and
Turn
come
them
back.
back.
We're talking about, what, 2 miles probably?
That might be,
Boyd is 2, High Point is closer to 3.
Is it? Okay.
well, and could we, this is just an idea, and I think that's a fine idea too. Maybe we could go a little bit east
Yeah.
and just a little bit west, and then keep the town in the middle in case people do get cold and they'd
Right.
be closer to their cars. You know what I mean?
When were you thinking, it needs to culminate in something besides just, so,
Yeah,
You
I
know what
mean,
I'm
I don't know,
saying?
yes. I don't know if afterwards you do hot cocoa or something like that.
well, what did
you
we
know.
have, last month we talked about something on Saturday night,
Yeah, the meal that is planned and the bonfire.
and we talked about starting it when? Did we have
We
a start
didn't pick a
time?
start
The
time.
only thing
Dinner time.
about doing it, starting and tying it into the bonfire is it's going to be dark. And I don't really want to see a lot of golf carts driving at night. We've got to be careful about that.
Well, why don't we do it, these
Saturday-
activities are going to be involved, are going to just pretty much involve the island people.
All right.
Why
Well,
don't we do it on the
though.
14th before the cake and ice cream?
I think there would be people on Saturday that might.
I'm hoping that it's going to be promoted enough that you can encourage, like, I know I'm going to be talking to my federal friends that talk about coming on Saturday, but none of them have been able to come before Friday night.
I don't, a parade just kind of seems like a Saturday morning activity to me.
Well, what if we
It
did
doesn't- I mean, it
hot
doesn't-
chocolate in the morning? Hot chocolate and donuts in the morning and do the parade, or do the parade and then hot chocolate and donuts, and then that would give them the afternoon to do whatever they wanted to, and then maybe do the bonfire. I mean, there's a possibility.
Is Doc House, what am I trying to say? Are they closed in February?
Who?
The restaurant there.
Provision?
Yeah,
This is
No.
their Doc House, this is their first year, I don't know when what they're gonna do.
they've already closed.
Have they? Okay.
Well, I'm thinking that if you maybe had it start in that parking lot area where the boats and stuff are, and it could go down South Shore,
Okay,
go down South Shore East,
okay,
turn back up Halstead or Quinton,
okay.
or that's about as far as you go is Halstead.
Yeah.
where you did
Kind of like
everything.
the
Turn right,
crafters was set up.
turn right, come back up Brunswick,
Brunswick.
and depending on whether you want to just stop here, or I'll go to the end of Brunswick, come back, and then end at the pavilion with, you could have a starting point, make a loop, come back and end up at the pavilion
You
with,
could just go as far as Delaney or something, a little dirt road.
well, you could always cut down Gerda and part, you could make a loop that way. I think if you contain it
I
off
think
of
we
Ocean
keep it less
Boulevard,
than a mile or something like that, and run around a mile. What do you think, Christy?
I think everything you just laid out was okay, except for the minutes purposes, we would have to start it not in the, I know what you're saying, but not specifically
In the
in the
parking lot.
wildlife area, but
Wildlife
in
area.
that parking lot that the town has
okay,
at Jordan, and then in the back there.
down, turn loop, come back, and depending on how far down you want to go on this way, come back and then finish up at the pavilion.
But I think you will, and this is totally up to the board, but I think you'll cause, I think the golf carts and walking folks, I think that's still walkable if there's people that want to do it as far as like Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts or whatever. I don't know if you want to go as far as really doing parade floats and making
No,
it big.
no.
I don't think so.
I think it'd be like a golf carts and foot traffic. Yeah. And who knows, you might be able to get a high school band to come over here. They're always looking for venues.
I've got a question. The bands that played, do y'all pay them, or do they do that just for advertisement?
In the parade or?
No, in the,
Oh, we pay them.
you pay them?
Oh,
Okay.
No, she's talking about for the merchants.
For the merchants.
Olivia is with the merchants.
Because there were a couple of good bands that y'all had.
Well,
Can I suggest something
Mhm.
from working on the parade for the festival? We would just need to know if, one, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of work if we're gonna undertake doing this parade.
Mhm.
And so if we're gonna do this, then we need to make sure we have enough volunteers, because there's also other activities that we're planning on doing throughout that week and then that evening. And then, I guess, first determine who we're opening this up to. From there, draft a invitation letter to whomever we're opening it up to. Is there permits that we have to pull, because we're gonna be in the streets? Christy, I don't know.
It'll be a town event, so
Okay.
we'll
Okay.
handle that on
The
our end.
police, the routes, any applications, and then the biggest, which is the biggest thing, is the lineup. So that morning, when we're getting everybody lined up, this Dolly's number one, you're number two, so then we already know how the lineup is going now. So,
Do you do that ahead of time, or do you do it?
yeah, we do
after?
it ahead of time.
Okay, let's, go ahead.
excuse me. I mean, we have a lot of people. I just think that's asking a whole lot of our town people.
Mhm.
Because we're asking them, basically now we're turning one event into all day long
That's true.
for the town people. That, I mean, they're just about volunteers, some of them anyway. And we're talking about they're going to have to be here in the morning. Well, most of them live too far away to go home before we have
An event.
an event in the afternoon. Do we really need to add anything?
I mean, it was just the consideration of the
Yeah.
parade, so,
I know.
if we think at this point that we've already got,
I think we
Enough
have a
going on.
nice, I personally think we have a nice celebration with an actual celebration on the birthday and a bonfire and dinner and an oral history on a Saturday evening And
The
if we put the
pictures.
50th anniversary on our tie-dye t-shirts and do the time capsule connected with the birthday party,
And the pictures that John.
and the
has-
pictures that are going to be going, I'm not sure we haven't done enough and asked enough of our people without adding a parade into the mix. It just seems like a whole lot to ask people to do. That's just my personal thinking. And I, you know, and I don't know how, it would be a lot of work, and probably on Christie, to advertise it and get people to bring their golf cart. I mean, it just seems like a whole lot to me to entertain ourselves
In mid-February.
in February.
And it could be snowing.
So that's just
And
my
it could
2
snow.
cents worth. So for my part, I would like to make a motion that we, at this point, for the 50th anniversary, since it's kind of close and everything, that we nix a parade this year and not ask any more of our people, because they're tired. They've flooded and sewered and done all of these things, and I think that would be a nice gift for us to give our workers, to not ask them to do a parade. That's my motion, that we not have a parade at this point.
Anybody else want to comment on that? Did everybody second that motion?
I think that one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Christie, we're not going to have a parade.
Okay.
Okay, program and facilities update.
The Public Works Department, I'm going to talk about parks first. The Public Works Department did some work on some trees at Sailfish Park that Lewis Mitchell had mentioned, and it was on their to-do list. Some of those type things, they just have to get to them when they can with the limited staff that they have. So Chris informed me that they got to the attention of those. The picnic shelter 2 Fridays ago, same day as Boo at the Beach, got the gripping additive added to the concrete when we sent out the information about the picnic shelter being closed for the weekend. Of course, somebody did ignore that and took down our tape and had a birthday party that was not booked, but
Did it do any damage?
it didn't. By Sunday, I think it had dried because they started Friday and they were asking for a day, but we were being overly cautious and giving 2. So I found a lot of debris over there when I returned back. I guess I shouldn't say debris, but party supplies that were left. The library was repaired by Nick, member Payne, and he brought it back. His explanation for it is that now it can withstand, he believes, a Cat 1 and Cat 2, but Cat 3 it needs to be unbolted and come back inside. And I added books this week from the donations that we had. I did receive information 2 days ago, so it is not in this packet either, that Nick did not tell me until then, but he had told the school systems that he's involved with that this does, on Saturday, will be his last race that he does here for the children. So I think we're at that point that not to discuss today, but that the town will have to decide if we're going to take that program over, like we had briefly talked about when you guys were discussing races.
Westfall, not
Yeah, Westfall, the Search 5K, the children's race.
Okay.
That is in conjunction with the school system.
You anticipated that, didn't you?
I did anticipate that. He had moved to New York and he was trying to come to do those when he had other reasons to be in the area. But I think that he's now kind of produced a movie in
LA.
yeah.
moving to LA.
So that's what I have for programs and facilities.
Christie, could I mention one thing here under facilities?
Mm-hmm.
Lewis and I tried to watch for boats stopping out, and if we don't have anything to do, you know, or we're running to the grocery store or something, sometimes we'll just walk down, one of us will walk down and knock on the side and see if anybody needs a ride to the grocery store. And you might consider that, you know, as you come and go, if you happen to see, because I know from my own boat travels,
That's a good
that
idea.
getting to the grocery store sometimes is tough. And you might just, and you know, be kind of, Elizabeth City, North Carolina, used to have a group they called the Rose Buddies. And they met all incoming boats and had a rose for the women and had a cocktail hour. I don't think we've got to go, you know, to that. But, you know, it's nice when you're on the water, if somebody knocks and says, do you need anything? You know, and with a
That's a good
drugstore and a grocery store right there. Just consider it. I'm not asking you to do it, but
In addition to that, with the debris you talked about that was left at the park, do we need to maybe have I can't do it in June, July, or August, but do we need to have maybe some volunteers that are not staff, that just kind of periodically checks that area on Saturdays and Sundays? And being on the board, having the authority to say, you know, we're so glad to have you here, just please remember to, you know, clean up after yourselves. We appreciate your patronage, or whatever you script to tell us to do. But it might, I mean, with a good wind and a lot of party supplies, it could be all over the place. So I didn't know if we wanted to look for, I mean, we're not going to talk about a lot of outdoor birthday parties in January, February, March, but maybe the warmer months. I certainly wouldn't mind going by knowing that every weekend I need to just ride by in the afternoon on Saturday or Sunday to kind of get a look see. Just food for thought. And I like that idea, Dawn. I mean, I've never lived on the water, I always wanted to, but.
Anything else? Upcoming special events?
Yes, the Veterans Appreciation Luncheon will be next Friday, November 9th. The veterans and their guests are invited, and that I'm taking sign-ups for that. I've asked for RSVPs to end tomorrow so that I'll know how much food to order. So if you know anybody that hasn't registered yet and you think they're coming, if you can ask them to give me a call. And
Do you need any help with that event?
I think that day we're pretty good.
Okay.
Thank you though. I'm trying to go in order. As far as the bonfire for the 50th anniversary, that would be, I'm going to the commissioners meeting, which is scheduled for the 20th. If you do not see that on there, I know we discussed that. It's because part of the ordinance says that it's okay in an approved container right now. So I think we're trying to decide at this point if it needs to go before them or not, or if we can just use an approved container and not have to add that to their agenda. It'll be based on what we decide and talking to the clerk. But if you don't see it on there, don't think I forgot it.
Okay.
Christy, can you tell us what an approved container is?
Tim has talked about that at a meeting before, and it falls to his discretion as far as the code, and I can't quote it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
and then the turkey trot is Thanksgiving morning at 8 a.m. Last year, you guys as a board decided that you wanted that, the donations, because we do canned food donations, to stay local. So I was going to contact the same organization again unless the board wants to change that.
They're interested.
Was it Sharon?
They contacted.
Sharon.
They wanted to know. They contacted me this week, and I said we had a meeting to decide on that today.
and they really are the central entity for the flood, the damages. I think everything is going through.
Well, actually, everything's gone through Brunswick
Family
Family Assistance.
assistance.
I thought that's what she said, BFA.
No,
No.
it was Sharon.
Sharon, you
Oh,
know.
Sharon.
Sharon.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. But I think we did that in the past. I should probably stick
Yeah,
with Sharon.
Sharon,
that's right.
okay.
Yeah.
because that's where Helping Hands in the summer goes. It goes to them.
So I'm hearing a consensus. Is that right? Do I have any nays for it continuing to go to Sharon this year?
I think that was a good move.
Okay, and then the tree lighting is going to be the 29th. The high school will be performing at 5:30, and the lighting will be at 6. and we do need assistance with that if there are board members available. In the past, I know, Suzanne, I know you're new and Thursday night is tough, but for folks that weren't able to participate in the past, typically the board does like games with the children after the event and prior to, before the lighting. So,
Do you want me to mention to HBBC, is that who's done the cakes in the past?
yes, please.
Okay, Becky, help me remember.
Okay.
You need to know our commitment, correct?
I don't have to know it today. It's just if you want to send me an email, if you are available.
So the tree light, that's a Thursday?
It is.
Mhm.
Okay.
29.
Guess I'm gonna just need to move down here full time.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
We have fun.
Anything else, Christy?
I think that's all I have under special events.
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we should be doing something for the 50th anniversary. It just seems to me like it's before we know it, it's going to be January, and then we're going to be scrambling. Does anybody feel that way?
The marketing piece, is that something that we need to get involved with, or can we start putting that on the water bills and
We
sending out a
can.
blast for, like we get, we get the Holden Beach emails all the time going and say, plan now to join us. Well, anything that comes
Mark
out.
your calendar, save the date or
Save the
something.
date. That's one of the things that we find, that when people get into Thanksgiving, Christmas season, there's really not a whole lot of need to say anything about what's happening in January and February. Because that's kind of like no blinders, but we can at least put the save the date thing out
Right.
there. And then hit it hard, January 1. I'm gonna talk it up, and we all can start talking it up.
Well,
when
and
it's
I guess
spring.
until we get, I guess we don't really have to wait for the commissioner's approval for the bonfire, so that's going to be a given because we've already got that, and Tim will make that happen some ways.
As long
that
as we
what
use
I'm-
this container.
Is that what I'm-
They're still interpreting the ordinance, but I just
Okay.
wanted to make you aware that if
Okay,
the
it is not
agenda
like-
came out for the Board of Commissioners meeting and it wasn't on there, that was why. If it comes out and it is on there, then that means we still need to have it because of the beach.
Okay.
This will be the first time there's been one for the beach, so.
Okay. Because I was just thinking in order to, wrap my head around what we need to do, I think that's a big
Well,
component.
I would think
of
the
the weekend.
pictures that John talked about scanning, that could be done now and get ahead of that.
And John's not going to be back until December, is that correct, Christy? He might not even be back in December, maybe.
The first part of December. He has a
Part of
friend that had a stroke and he is helping with his animals because they don't have anybody to assist.
But whatever John's doing with the pictures, he can do that remotely.
But I mean, we
But
will
we
send
need
it to
to-
him by email anyway. He doesn't
Right,
have to be here.
Right, exactly.
We can put it in the blast about the when we were doing the mark your calendars that if you wanted to drop by
Share
pictures, yes.
Yeah, yes.
Or
Save-
Well, you can
save-
email
save
it,
the
just
weekend or something.
Give John's email address, because people would probably just as soon
Email.
take
Email.
a picture of them, scan them at home, and keep their pictures and email the
I wouldn't-
scanned pictures to him.
I wouldn't
If
want
that's
this
okay
problem
with
with
him.
anybody.
Well,
taking
and see if it's okay with
pictures.
John that everybody in the clear has his email
Yeah.
address.
Or they could send them to the town, and then you could forward them to John,
Because that won't be too
Yeah.
much work, Christy.
Now, one thing you did not mention under special events is the Mr. and Ms. Santa with the pets. Are you going to do that this year or not?
I think I'm going to do the pits, but I haven't gotten to a date yet. I'm still
Okay.
choosing a date.
Okay, so that you still are planning on doing that?
You know, it's going to be, the next meeting is just going to be December what?
6th.
December 6th. I was gonna say I can meet with you, but we're not coming back from Charlotte until November 18th. But anyway, I mean, we could always talk on the telephone. As far as kind of brainstorming to take the load off the staff in order to pull off this celebration. So maybe what I'll do, Christy, is I'll call you and you tell me, you know, give me some kind of timeline and things like that, and then I can call people individually and, you know, and then we can, delegate. And if we have to have a little special meeting, then we can do that. But I'm just afraid with the holidays and everything coming up, by the time we meet in January,
It's gonna be here.
it's gonna be here, and we're gonna, you know, I don't want everything to fall on Christy and Heather and everybody else.
So maybe brainstorm kind of a timeline that when we need to do things, and then we'll know when we need to jump
Yeah.
on board. Do we have time to do that today, Christy? Just kind of brainstorm a timeline?
Yeah, I'm good.
Maybe talk about promotion, marketing, and like putting it in the water bill for what, December, January billing? I'm just throwing some things out. I'm waiting for other people to. And then that Holden Beach email that we get, I think a save the date immediately would work.
Right. I do
Yeah.
that the first of the year.
Uh-huh. Or you could do a save the date now,
Well, that's true.
and then continue to do those last, even, leading up to it. Well, you're going to do some more, another one in December, and then almost weekly. Don't forget, we're having this celebration. And then you would have more details that you could add to it once the bonfire is.
More details to come.
Right. Just save the date is all that is 50th celebration. And my question was, the t-shirts were brought up about putting the years established from
Mhm.
89 to 2019. Will those t-shirts be on board by the time we have this meeting? Have this celebration? Will you have ordered those? Maybe is what I should say.
Not for next
For next
summer.
No, but we can order some prior to the event if the board is looking at that and you want to have some there. But the complete order for the summer won't have occurred because we just don't have the storage space
Right.
to hold all those t-shirts between now and June.
I didn't know if it was something you wanted people that came in to have 25 available to sell if people wanted that. I can see my husband wanting one. I don't wear t-shirts, but he does. So maybe it would be a memento of that celebration that people could buy a t-shirt. I don't know. What do you think, Becky? If you can order it, you can place your order in
And keep it.
increments, and it not cost you.
But it'd have to be the white t-shirt with the red print that you could use in the summer. I would not do a different color t-shirt or a different design.
Right, but what we've done the last 2 years is switch the colors. Each year we're going with a different
okay.
color, so it
Okay.
might not be red.
Okay.
It's what
Okay.
we started with blue, we went to red, and I haven't put my eye on what this year's will be yet.
What's the town's official colors? Blue and something?
Oh, I forgot to bring that flag. That stuff to you.
The
Just
one-
dawned on me. The Merchants Association, Olivia, the Merchants Association on the 25th anniversary had little flags that they gave out. And it had 4 different scenes. But they were distributed by the Merchants Association. But there were little flags that you could put up and fly.
All
I
right.
had an article that Marlene had from the paper. And at that time, the east end of Holden Beach actually had a trail that Jay Holden had done and identified plants through the trail down there.
So will the beautification group and maybe the Turtle Patrol, will they want to come on board with some things
Well,
additional?
I think the HBBC is doing, at their February meeting, they've got some way to do something. They've already got a speaker lined up. But we've asked them, and Bev was at the last meeting, and she was gonna relay the information to them, to do some recognition of that. I have no idea, and Becky might, because
I think what we can, I know that right now, technically you guys are under public comment, so I'm gonna try to keep us in the row
Oh,
here.
that's
Okay.
true.
Aren't we?
What
I
we
thought
can-
we wanted public comment.
I thought we were on the kind
Oh, we're on special events?
I
Okay.
thought we were.
All right, good. I'm glad. Keep talking.
'Cause we moved number 7 up.
Okay.
Right.
So we're still on special events?
We're still on special events. We're good.
Okay.
But what I
That's
can
what
do
I thought.
is 50th anniversary for the blast. I can get that information to Heather. We can ask people to send in their pictures to the town, and I can forward those to John.
Mm-hmm.
And then get the save the date out. I already spoke to 2 of the realty companies that I happen to have to deal with on another issue, and they know about the, in case they want to market and get it into their material. So that just leaves 3. Can you speak to your company?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then that'll leave I'll have the other 2 to call unless somebody is in that organization. And then the water bills, I can have Carrie put that in there for a save the date for December. Now, how much she can write is limited. So it'll be very concise because that space looks bigger than what she actually has to put in there.
Well, I really think people probably notice Heather's more than what's in the water bill.
right.
So I think Heather's is probably more important than the water bill.
Okay.
Everybody gets a water bill like that. The other's the email. They might,
Well, it's
might
true. So
pick
both
up-
of them is fine, but yeah.
And I can ask Gail to send out a memo to the HBBC members, saying, reminding them that there will be events coming up.
And she actually emailed too, so I can email her what we have as well, that she wanted to know when we got dates settled, what we were doing.
Okay, or if you're gonna do that, then I will.
Okay.
Okay, I think I get messages from 2 sources. One is that Town of Holden Beach where you'll say, like the last one was about this award. But the other one is one that comes from Alan Holden. Right?
I don't get that.
The
I
email-
think they're the same.
They're the
Are they
same.
same?
It's just if it's storm
Depends on what
related
it's
or a
about.
special issue, it comes from the mayor.
So do you would you be interested in adding to the board meeting, commissioner thing, whatever you'll call them here, that you have a declaration or you declare that week or something, or that, that this is the celebration time for the 50th?
Maybe in January, do
He
that.
could do that. That would be something he would do if he wanted to,
He could,
for the birthday.
it's a declaration, is that what he declares that particularly?
Proclamation.
Proclamation.
Proclamation, that's the word I could find. I mean, I think it'd just be one more thing out there that might draw attention to it.
I'm thinking about the time capsule. And, depending on whether we find the old one or not, but if we're gonna go ahead and do a new one, I would love to work on that with anybody that would like to work on that. And maybe I could work closely with the Beacon and, we can come up with some ideas as to what we'd like to put in that. And I mean, I don't even know how big a time capsule is, how much room you would have, what you would do.
I think it can be what you want it to be.
Yeah.
We just can't dig up the whole front of it.
Oh, you
You
can't?
can't
Oh.
extra,
I want to see if we can get a backhoe over here.
you can't Will
So,
Richardson down with his backhoe.
But anyway, maybe we can, like I said, work with the Beacon and see what would anybody, it would just be a
I'll
matter
work
of
with
phone.
you.
You want to work with me with that?
Yeah.
Okay. And you know, maybe we can talk about that between now and the next meeting and then
That's the idea.
come back with, yeah. But anyway, how about if I talk to Christy between now and the next meeting too, and then depending on what's going on, you're not breaking any rules with open meeting if I just call people individually, so we can go ahead and do that. And now I've got everybody's phone number because I went ahead and I had to call everybody because Christy was the only one. Just call it along.
You did well.
Anyway, anything else? Public comment?
I just want to say one thing.
Sure.
This board can get all the awards that this North Carolina Park Service can come up with, but nobody rises above their leader.
Got that right.
And when we went to Winston-Salem, had we known it was for us, I don't know if we would have driven 8 hours in the rain to go, because we thought they were actually honoring our leader. And I just want to publicly say that as a board, and I'm speaking for this board and I think I can, we truly appreciate your leadership, Christy, and all you do for us and for the town of Holden Beach. You work tirelessly and your commitment is to be commended, and we appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Christy.
since you came on board, the recreation opportunities for all ages is night and day different.
Absolutely.
Because of your leadership.
And Boo at the beach was fun. It was.
The s'mores were delicious.
It really was. David
I
was-
would like
David
some
was handing
boys,
them out.
if possible, at the bonfire.
Oh, that was nice, yeah.
They
If
was giving them out
We
cold,
can
and I'm
have
like, we gotta roast these marshmallows. So we found us a stick. He said, well, it didn't bring anything. I said, we Girl Scouts always use a stick.
The next meeting is December 5th. It's 6th, I'm sorry, I've already got it wrong. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Okay, second? We're adjourned.